We are back with Talking Movies. I've got Luke and Swank with me here. I thought we'd talk a little bit about theater experiences, good and bad, you know. We hear some of our parents and grandparents talk about going to the drive-in and stuff, and we certainly have that opportunity to just do that with Laverne here, but I guess I've been to drive-in a couple times and never really, enjoyed it a whole lot, because I think it's kind of hard to see and view and whatnot. But we have the pleasure of seeing movies on a big screen now and in a nice theater like we have at the Century Theaters here in Sioux Falls. So, but even I don't know where exactly I'm going with this, but we've obviously grown up all watching movies in the theater, and we just want to talk about some of our good experiences and our bad experiences today. I'll go first. I think when I start to talk about theater experiences, I'll never forget seeing Rocky IV in the theater. Obviously, that's the one with the very handsome Dolph Lundgren. That movie, during the fight scene, that movie's just kind of all built up to the big fight at the end, like any Rocky movie is. But when that happened in the theater, people were standing up and cheering and throwing popcorn at Dolph Lundgren on the screen. And I felt like I was at the fight. I mean, and I don't even know how old I was. I was probably maybe 10 years old. I'll have to cross-check that, but it was something I'll certainly never forget, because it was just so intense, and the energy really came through and into the people in the theater. So,
does he win?
I'm not going to tell you who wins, but Dolph Lundgren is handsome. Theater experiences?
Well, oddly enough, I think it's great, for me anyways, whenever I go to a movie and there's nobody else there. So speaking of The Master, I went with my girlfriend Missy, and it was just Missy and myself, and that's kind of nice. And Missy said it was the first time that's ever happened to her.
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't happen to me very often where, I'm the only one in the theater, but just going in there and it's just like, man, are we going to jinx it by laughing about this? And the trailers are starting, and it's just nice to lounge back and then you have your own personal theater.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a great...
There's so many times it's happened to me, and it just feels like you're special or something. Like I have this whole theater to myself, and...
Sucks for the filmmakers, because they're,
trying to make money, but...
When I saw the new Batman, we went with another couple, and there's only 4 other people there. But it was just the 4 of us for the longest time, so we thought it was going to be that way, but yeah.
It filled in.
No, there's only 8 people total. But that was a Sunday night, 9 o'clock type of thing.
And you waited 3 months.
Yeah. Luke?
Probably the most, with audience participation and fun, I would say, was Grindhouse. We went, I think, one of the first showings, on a Friday afternoon, and so there's a lot of the Tarantino fans and horror fans, and I think everyone was just really into it, just we're having fun with it, so people were laughing, and maybe a comment here or there, nothing too distracting, and it just literally felt really fun just to see a double feature, and only had to pay for one movie, and and that was probably one of my favorite moments going to a movie. But like you were saying, drive-ins and stuff too were always really fun. The first one I went to was in Winter, South Dakota. I can't remember what movie it was. Maybe it was Babe or something, but that was really cool. It's just very nostalgic. We've been going to old movie theaters like the one in Vermilion, or there's one in Viborg called the Lund Theater, and it's feels like you're stepping back into the 50s. And it just really kind of brings back an old nostalgic feeling of going to go see a movie. It's not as fancy as going to Century or the big nice ones now, but kind of interesting to go to. But yeah, there's a lot of good and bad theater experiences I had.
I don't know if it was maybe the first movie I ever went to there, but it was probably the most memorable movie. It wasn't even that good a movie, but I went to Police Academy 2 in the State Theater downtown. Okay. And I think it was maybe the first time I was there to where I just kind of looked around and really appreciated how awesome it was. I mean, with the balcony and stuff, and I liked the movie. I'm not going to I'm not ashamed to admit that I like that movie, but
That should be a whole nother segment.
Yeah.
of Disney movies.
but yeah, I mean, I just I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
majestic. It's just so cool. I'm pretty excited to see that they're actually getting steps forward to doing something with it again, and so it sounds like they're moving forward in that. So, bad theater experiences, not necessarily a bad movie, just bad theater experiences.
This one isn't bad per se, but that movie adaptation with Nicolas Cage, I love that movie. We saw that movie in the theater. This isn't really bad. I'd say an interesting theater experience. Somebody, there were a couple of guys in front of us who lit up a joint in the theater. That was interesting.
That movie wasn't mind numbing them enough, or what?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty bold. That's all I gotta
It
say.
is pretty bold. Yeah, I've been. I don't know.
I've been to plenty of movies where people drink and stuff.
Well,
And that doesn't bother me none, but
I've drank in plenty of movies.
Oh, yeah.
So
but lighten up. I don't know. That seemed weird to me.
yeah. I went to I don't even know what the movie was, but I'll never forget. I was in a movie probably 7 or 8 years old with my parents, and these kids in the front were drinking cans of pop. Obviously, they had brought it in themselves, and the usher came and kicked them out. And right as they're about to leave, one of the kids just yells, "I want my lawyer!" And he slammed his can of pop against the wall, and it sprayed all over and got on people and stuff. And it's like, wow, that was pretty cool. I'm 7. That was pretty awesome.
yeah. Two bad theater experiences. I remember seeing. This is a really, really vague memory, but as a young kid, I think they re-released Snow White in the theaters, and I think it was at the West Mall Theater, and way back in the 90s, and the film burned up towards the end, so they gave us like a free pass to go see a different one. But I remember like just watching the screen, it was like right when the witch was falling from the rock, and then like the film jumps and it burns like how you always see it. And it was just kind of like one of those like, weird moments. And then I went to go see Kill Bill 2 when it first came out, and I was in Chicago. I went to go see it in this kind of a ghetto theater. It wasn't too far from the dorms, and the heater, I think, was stuck on, and it was middle of March or April, so you have to wear warm clothes, but when you're in there, it was like 85 degrees, it felt like, and you're rolling up your jeans like to your knees and like taking off about every layer of clothes, and Tarantino's dialogue scenes were starting to get very long towards the end, and I did not like that movie because of that experience for about a couple months until I saw it again, and then it's like, okay, this movie's pretty good. But
so have you watched that movie at home since? Just
Yeah.
layers of clothes off, just in a certain scene. And
start sweating. But yeah, it was probably one of the most uncomfortable experiences. But
I know some people often complain it's always cold in the theater, no matter what time of year. It's always cold in the theater, so that's interesting. That
I know that's
the reverse. Century theaters, I always have to bring like a sweatshirt or something.
Yeah, especially in the summer.
My wife will bring a blanket.
Yeah,
that's true.
Especially in like the summer when you have just shorts and t-shirt on, and sandals.
Another thing that I would really like to do, if I'm not the only person in the theater, for some reason, I just like going up to the top. I just don't want anybody to sit behind me. I don't know. It's really strange, but I just like to see.
There's about this much more legroom in that back row too. I appreciate that.
There is, yeah. I can spread out my legs and whatnot, but I don't know. There's something about it where I don't know.
I prefer that top middle, definitely.
It's nice. I don't know if it's a nervous tick of mine or what, but I mean, I'm not worried or anything like that, but I just don't want anybody to sit there, and talk loud or put their legs on top of my seat or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I don't know.
I went to a movie with my son a few weeks ago, and you know how the Century's set up to where it's kind of, they have that big row, and then there's like that little 4-packer rows up front, and we sat in that 4th row in the front, and he just thought that was the coolest thing. He's like, "We can sit up here? Really?" Like, sit wherever you want, bud, and it's just, and I guess it wasn't too strenuous. I mean, I enjoyed it. Those seats recline a little bit, so that was fun. So.
Nice.
Has anybody ever been to a really bad movie in the theater, or it's just kind of awkward? I can start since I brought up this subject. A couple years ago on Valentine's Day, my wife, having read the Twilight books and watched the first movie, which I had also watched with her, wanted to go see the second one in the theater, so we went to that in the theater, and she apologized about 12 minutes into the movie for bringing us to it. But it was, whatever. However you feel about the Twilight movies, I'm not trying to upset anybody, but that movie was hilarious. It was, it's not meant to be hilarious, but I laughed so hard in that theater. And I wasn't the only one laughing, so I didn't feel bad, right away, Bella wipes out on her bicycle, or her motorcycle, or whatever, and Jake runs up to see if she's okay, and before he leans down, he just rips his shirt off. It's just like, really? Wow.
He wasn't like a tourniquet.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
No, I love to see him. Great.
He's waiting for the 4-pack, or the 5-pack on Blu-ray, so
Yeah.
he needs to see that in 1080p in his own home for some reason.
With my shirt off.
I think I talked a little bit earlier, but I saw the movie Cable Guy, coincidentally in that same theater, and I was the only person laughing. And I enjoyed the movie, but that kind of took a little bit away from it, because I was with a group of like 10 people, and it was a pretty major thing, because it was Jim Carrey at the height of his career, and then everybody was just like, even my friends were like, that wasn't funny. I'm just like, it was, and conversely, I think I've been in a movie where the exact opposite happened. I saw there was something about Mary in the theater, and I felt like I was the only person not laughing, and which is fine. I don't have to laugh because every other people are laughing, but it was just kind of awkward for me, because I'm just like, are you? I don't want to feel better than anybody, but I'm just like, what am I missing here? It's just, I kind of, I don't know. It's one of those movies where you see all the funny stuff in the so by the time you've seen it, for the 80th time, it's not that funny anymore. But.
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastards was the last movie I went to where myself and a couple friends of mine were the only people laughing at certain parts, and I don't know, that makes me smile. That makes me laugh more, because it's just so like these other people watching a different movie. Like I don't understand what's going on here. And,
That's a good point. I just had to say this before I forget. One of my favorite movie experiences, last year I went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show at West Mall 7, and that was really fun. If you like audience participation, I like the movie too, so just a really good time. Just let your hair down and just get as crazy you want in the movie theater for an hour and a half and enjoy some good tunes. Bad movies. I remember seeing Grudge 2, and the audience started like kind of making comments, like started like laughing at the movie towards the end. I can't think of like a really bad movie I saw and just how the audience react to it, but seeing some like not funny movies, and people, you could tell just were like drifting off to sleep or.
We talked about being the only person, or next to the only person in the theater. I hate going to movies because I've seen probably 5 of the Harry Potter movies like that opening weekend, and I hate going to movies where it's just packed. It was either Harry Potter 3 or 4. We were sitting next to like this 3-year-old kid who was not even old enough to be there, as far as I'm concerned, on my parenting brain, as far as I'm concerned. Shouldn't see a movie like that in the theater, but every 5 minutes he's like, "Why did they do that?" And he was sitting right next to me, so I'm like hearing him and his mom answering him, and I'm just like, shut him up, Sorry, I love children.
Yeah, when you get in a crowded theater, I remember seeing Lord of the Rings, the Return of the King, and this lady had
you made it through all 5 hours.
The Nokia movie or Nokia phone, and it kept flashing. And this is 2003, so before they had all like the turn off your cell phones, and it was really, really, really annoying. Yeah, and I think she wasn't into the movie either, so it made it worse.
The whole packed theater,
it's fun every once in a while.
Yeah, it depends. Dark Knight Rises, nobody, besides the the baby that was crying. Yes, a baby. They had, they couldn't find a babysitter, so they just brought him with. That's what you do. The baby was only crying during the trailers, so that's fine. But and then somebody next to me said, "Man, if that baby cries during the movie, I'm gonna go down there and drop kick it." So that made me laugh. But yeah, I guess it depends. I guess you get the right crowd, then like you said, Rocky Horror Picture Show, just the audience participation.
Yeah.
Then it's cool. But
yeah, I think when you go to a movie in a packed theater, it depends on sometimes the length of the movie, because I don't really want to spend 3 hours with all these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if they're not saying anything, you get, I don't know, it just, their smell starts creeping in or whatnot.
This is a different conversation.
I felt the same thing, that third Lord of the Rings movie, having, been a fan of the first two, I went to that in the theater pretty early on, and it was packed, and it just, that movie just got so long. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it just got so long. There's, that, I've seen, Dances with Wolves in the theater. It's there's 3 times, okay, it's over. Oh, jeez, come on, credits.
I love Dances with Wolves.
Another thing, there's been a lot of times I go to the movie, and I'm the youngest person there, probably by 30 years, because I have old people taste, I guess. But most of the time it's fine. Gosford Park was good, but when I go see Gone Baby Gone, the audience was really shocked about the language. Or atonement, there's a certain word that's used in it that a lot of the old ladies were not happy about. But The Hours was the one, and I love that movie to death.
Oh yeah, fabulous movie.
But there's 2 women that kiss in the movie, and it kind of comes unexpectedly at first, and the audience literally just, you could just hear the pin drop when it happens.
Oh wow.
And then at the end of the movie, you just hear I wasn't expecting that. But yeah,
it's South Dakota for you.
Yeah, and I mean it was the turn of the century too, so lots changed. But yeah, and it's South Dakota, but it was really just funny to hear the pin drop and literally being there when I was 19 and everyone else is 60, 65 or older.
Speaking of pin drop, a friend of mine and we went to go see that movie Kinsey.
Oh, I love that movie.
And we were surrounded by 40-year-olds plus, and that was a little awkward. Another movie where we were laughing.
They should have known going into it, but were they shocked during the
spoiler alert?
They weren't shocked or anything, but they it's just interesting that we're watching this movie with
parents.
Our parents.
Yeah, the people that went to that movie kind of knew what they were getting into.
Yeah, so
his life is well documented.
Yeah, but it's just kind of looking around and just during all the more awkward scenes and people are just
all of a sudden you see your Aunt Susie over there.
Yeah, I have had some pretty good long movie theater experiences with the packed theater. I saw King Kong opening weekend.
Mm-hmm. That movie's awesome.
I know, and I was a little because I knew it was 3 hours and 8 minutes. I knew that before I was going in, so I'm just but great movie. Phenomenal movie. But anyway.
Have you ever walked out of a movie? Maybe we should end on that.
I never walked out of one in the theater, but there's been a few times I felt like I should have. But no, because I spent my money on it.
And I guess you can always maybe look at that or whatever. But I've never walked out on a movie.
I don't think I have.
I feel I don't know. I don't think I ever will. God, I hope.
Yeah. Because I think I've never seen a movie that's so bad. It's unbearable seeing the theater. Because I'm pretty selective what I see in theaters.
Yeah, me too, definitely. So. Anyway, this has been Talking Movies. We're a division of Metal Faker Productions. That's METALFRAKER. Getting better at spelling that. Metal Faker Productions. Find us on Facebook. Thank you. Have a good day.
See ya.